The alarms went off just after midnight. Red lights flashed along the long, narrow corridors of HMP Pentonville. Steel doors slammed shut one by one. Officers shouted orders that echoed through the old walls. Somewhere on the wing, a man screamed for help. Then everything stopped. The shouting. The footsteps. The noise. Inside one of Britain's oldest prisons, silence fell fast and heavy. An officer spoke into a radio with a shaking voice. "We've got an incident. Possible gang-related. Full lockdown now." Cells were sealed. Lights stayed on. No one was allowed to move. And behind one locked door, a body lay still, another mystery added to a prison already known for secrets, fear, and violence. What really happened inside Pentonville that night? HMP Pentonville stood in North London like a shadow from another time. Built in the 1800s, its walls were thick, dark, and worn. The prison was old, but it was never quiet for long. Men arrived here every week, transferred from London boroughs like Hackney, Islington, and Southwark. Others came from Birmingham and Manchester when space ran out elsewhere. Pentonville was crowded. Always full. Always tense. Daniel Brooks arrived on a rainy morning. He had been moved from another London prison after trouble on his wing. Nothing serious, they said. But Pentonville felt different the moment the gate closed behind him. The corridors were long and narrow. The ceilings were high. Every sound echoed. "Keep your head down," a man whispered as Daniel was walked past the cells. "This place runs on sides." Daniel soon learned what that meant. Inside Pentonville, gangs did not disappear. They followed people inside. Old street rivalries came with them. London gangs shared space with men from Birmingham and Manchester, and the mix did not always work. Officers tried to separate them, but there were too many people and not enough space. Pressure built fast. Life inside the prison moved in strict patterns. Lock in. Count. Food. Lock in again. Yard, if there were enough officers. Phones, if the wing was calm. But calm never lasted. Daniel noticed small signs at first. Groups standing apart in the yard. Whispers through cell doors at night. Men watching who talked to who. One afternoon, a fight broke out near the showers. Officers rushed in and stopped it quickly. Too quickly. Someone was dragged away. The next day, that man's cell was empty. No one asked where he went. Later that week, the prison went into lockdown without warning. No yard. No phones. Meals came late and cold. "Something's happened," a man from Birmingham said quietly through the wall. "They're not telling us." Rumors spread faster than truth. Some said there was a stabbing. Some said someone owed money. Some said a gang leader had been moved and others were angry. Daniel kept quiet, but he felt it too. The air felt thick. Like everyone was waiting for something bad to happen. Pentonville had a history. Men talked about unexplained deaths. About emergency lockdowns that lasted days. About cameras going dark at the wrong time. Old prison, someone said. Too many blind spots. One night, Daniel woke up to shouting. Not normal shouting. Fear shouting. He sat up on his bed as officers ran past his door. Keys rattled. Radios crackled. Then the alarm started. Red lights flashed. Doors slammed. The wing locked down hard. Daniel stood still, heart pounding, as silence returned. In the morning, officers moved differently. Slower. More serious. A man 2 cells down was gone. By lunch, everyone knew something was wrong. They found someone during the night, a voice whispered. They say it was gangs. No name was given. No details shared. That evening, officers searched cells across the wing. Mattresses were lifted. Papers taken. Tension snapped like a wire pulled too tight. Then, just before midnight, the alarms went off again. Louder this time. Closer. Daniel stepped back from his door as officers shouted orders and boots thundered down the corridor. Somewhere nearby, glass shattered. Someone cried out. And as the prison dropped into another emergency lockdown, Daniel realized something chilling. What happened that night was not the end. It was the beginning of something Pentonville had seen before, but never fully escaped. The lockdown did not end in the morning. Daniel woke up to the same bright light above his bed and the same heavy silence on the wing. Breakfast did not come. The doors stayed shut. Officers walked past his cell but did not stop. Something serious had happened. By midday, food trays were pushed through the slots. Smaller than usual. No hot drink. Men ate quietly. No jokes. No shouting. Everyone was listening. From 2 cells away, a man whispered, They're keeping us locked because they don't want trouble. Daniel sat on his bed and thought about the man who had disappeared. The one whose cell was now empty. The bed inside stripped clean like he had never been there. Inside HMP Pentonville, this was how things worked. People vanished, and life went on. Later that afternoon, officers began controlled movement. One cell at a time. No talking. No stopping. Daniel stepped into the corridor and felt the tension right away. Men stared straight ahead. No eye contact. Gangs knew who was who without saying a word. In the shower area, Daniel heard a low voice. They say it was two groups, the man said. London against London. Old beef. Another voice answered, nah. Someone from up north was involved. That's why it's bad. Daniel said nothing, but his chest felt tight. That night, the phone stayed off. Yard was cancelled again. The prison felt packed and angry, like a box shaking from the inside. Around midnight, shouting broke out on another wing. Officers ran. Radios crackled. Daniel heard the sound of a door being hit again and again. Then silence. The next morning, officers searched the wing. Every cell. Mattresses lifted. Letters taken. Photos checked. Daniel stood against the wall while an officer looked through his things. What's going on? Daniel asked. The officer did not answer. By lunchtime, rumors were everywhere. Some said the death was unexplained. Some said it was gang violence. Some said cameras had failed at the wrong time. What kind of prison has cameras go dark? Someone whispered. An older inmate answered, an old one. Pentonville was full of blind spots. Corners where officers could not always see. Places where things could happen fast. That evening, a man from Manchester started shouting through his door. This place is broken, he yelled. They keep locking us in and acting surprised when it goes wrong. Officers arrived quickly. Too quickly. The man was taken away. His cell was empty by morning. Daniel noticed something else then. Groups were shifting. Men were being moved quietly during the night. One from a London borough gone. Another from Birmingham placed 2 cells down. The balance on the wing was changing, and no one explained why. The next lockdown came without alarms. No warning. No noise. Just doors slamming shut at once. Daniel stood still as the prison sealed itself. His heart beat fast. This kind of lockdown felt worse. It meant officers were scared. Then, late that night, the lights flickered. Once. Twice. And from somewhere deep in the prison, a scream cut through the silence. It stopped suddenly. Daniel sat on his bed, staring at the door, knowing that whatever happened next would not stay hidden for long. Pentonville was waking up again. And it was never gentle when it did. The scream stayed in Daniel's head all night. He did not know who it came from. He did not know where it happened. That was the worst part. Inside HMP Pentonville, not knowing was normal. Morning came slowly. No breakfast. No movement. No announcements. The wing felt frozen. Even the usual sounds, the rattling keys, the radios, the shouting, were gone. It was too quiet. When food finally arrived, it was late and cold. Daniel ate without tasting it. Across the wing, no one spoke. The empty cells felt louder than people. By midday, officers appeared in groups. Not 1 or 2, many. They stood at the end of the corridor, talking in low voices. Daniel could tell something big had happened overnight. Then the loudspeaker clicked on. All inmates remain in cells until further notice. No reason given. That was when Daniel knew this was bigger than a normal fight. Hours later, controlled movement began again. 1 cell at a time. Officers watched every step. Daniel walked past a section of the wing he had never seen closed before. The door was sealed. Red tape across it. In the showers, a man whispered, "They found another one." Daniel's stomach tightened. "Another what?" he asked quietly. The man shook his head. "They won't say. They never do." By evening, the rumors were everywhere. Some said there had been another unexplained death. Some said it was linked to gangs from different London areas. Some said people from Birmingham and Manchester had been moved because they were targets. The truth stayed hidden. That night, inspectors arrived. Daniel saw them through the gap in his door. Clipboards, suits, serious faces. Officers followed them closely. Cameras were checked. Doors examined. Notes taken. For a moment, hope moved through the wing. Maybe now they'll fix it, someone whispered. But Pentonville had seen inspections before. The next day, lockdowns continued. Phones stayed off. Yards stayed closed. Men stayed locked in small cells built for another century. The pressure did not leave. It grew. Daniel noticed how people changed under it. Men talked less, slept less, watched more. Gangs stayed quiet, but everyone knew that quiet did not mean peace. It meant waiting. One evening, just as lights were supposed to dim, alarms blared again. Not as loud as before. Not as long. Enough to warn. Officers ran. Doors slammed. Radios crackled with sharp voices. Then silence returned. The loudspeaker came on one last time that night. Incident contained. Lockdown remains. Daniel sat on his bed and stared at the wall. He thought about how old Pentonville was. How many men had passed through it. How many stories were buried in its walls. Gang violence. Unexplained deaths. Emergency lockdowns. Different years. Same problems. Pentonville was not breaking apart like it once had. It did not need to. It was holding everything in. And as Daniel lay back and listened to the prison breathe around him, he understood something deeply unsettling. The mystery was not what happened inside Pentonville. The mystery was how long it could keep happening before something finally broke through the silence again.